So there have been lots of questions about where he is, how he is, what's going on. Well, today we finally saw him. Deputy President David Mabuza back on home soil. He says he's ready to work towards the country's economic recovery. He addressed the virtual Human Resource Development Council Summit in Midrand earlier today. He's been receiving medical treatment in Russia for nearly 2 months. The DA has called on the presidency to give a full breakdown of Mabuza's medical costs abroad. eNCA reporter Khayelihle Khumalo is following the story. Joins us now. Hello, Kaya. So, you were there. How did the deputy president look? Did he seem hale and hearty and fully fit? And did you get any details on his medical condition and what has been happening in Russia?
Well, Sally, I can tell you this much. The session was virtual, so there was an undertaking initially that he might be coming, but then subsequent to the events around the venue, then there was an undertaking that, well, it's going to be virtual. So he spoke to the delegation there, the Gallagher Estates, virtually, and he was quite a very jovial person. Obviously, with a virtual session, it's always really hard to read, how one's body language is because of the limitations that are associated with such an event of this nature. But most importantly, he tried to speak about a number of issues facing the country. Like there was a point where he touched on the recent unrest in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. We know that, there has been a litany of concerns about his whereabouts, the opposition parties making all kinds of demands about the cost perhaps that the taxpayers might be paying. But of course, from the side of the presidency, the issue has been that, look, he has paid for his particular trip, and the allegation is, of course, in 2015, he was poisoned, and it's been a recurring issue for him, and the only country that seemingly offers such the medical care that he requires is the Russian Federation. But Sally, this is what he had to say about, for example, trying to fix the economy in the country.
DC, as a multi-stakeholder advisory body, is uniquely positioned to ensure that we capacitate those unemployed, those in workplaces, and those still in our schooling system, with the necessary requisite skills that can respond to the new world and to make South Africa globally competitive. As President Ramaphosa stated, opening quote, "We are determined not merely to return our economy to where it was before the coronavirus, but to forge a new economy in a new global reality." As such, ours as the broader HRDC family is to use the revised HRDC strategy to address 4 broad challenges of poverty and inequality, the quality of education, absorptive capacity of our economy, and social cohesion that will cumulatively contribute towards the attainment of our national development plan's outcome.
So really, it's the Deputy President's first virtual public appearance since he's been treated for that 2015 poisoning in Russia. The DA says they want to know how much it's costing the state to care for him in Russia. But also, you are hearing, Kaya, that some people within the ANC are also quite concerned about his health. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, that's right, Celia, especially because what I can tell you is, I was at pains to try and get an understanding as to how the Deputy President is doing. Safe to say that his office, they're saying he's in high spirits, and also they do say that he's catching up on his work. We know that he's a chairperson of the IMC responsible for vaccination rollout, and most definitely there are talks within the circles of the ANC about his fitness readiness to office and his health condition. So the issue, others go as far as indicating that the NWC might be looking at the issue, but of course, for now, it's still a speculation. But in terms of a very key issue, some of the leaders of the ANC, Sally, we got an opportunity to speak to the ANC chairperson in the Northern Cape, Zamani Saul, who's also the premier of the province. And he really said it was quite energizing seeing the deputy president back in the country. But he said it's a very sensitive issue, so all people within the ANC should be very careful how they try to look into this subject matter. But this is what he had to say, Sally.
I was actually very excited to see him back, highly energized. You can see that he had adequate time to rest, but he's highly energized. It was the vintage David Mabuza who actually addressed us today. I'm greatly excited about that.
Very interesting indeed. Thank you very much, Khayelihle Khumalo, for chatting to us and just giving us that update on the Deputy President. But clearly, as you explained, there are still some very serious concerns about his health, but it's good to see him looking in fairly good spirits. Thanks very much for that update.